This lesson is to discuss misused words and expressions so that when you go to write your essay and edit your essay, you can check for these errors. Okay, so because, the word because, you can begin a sentence with because if it looks like this second example here. Because I was late, comma, I got detention. So that is that qualifying, non essential, clarifying phrase at the beginning of the sentence. The subject of the sentence is I, and then got is the verb there. We're just adding on that qualifying non-essential phrase at the beginning. So it's if it's a because then kind of a sentence, because I was late, I got detention, then you can begin the sentence with the word because. If you have, like this first example, I got detention because I was late, then do not put a comma between detention and because. So, again, that goes back to our rules for commas about essential and non essential phrases. If it's causal, like this, I got detention because I was late, then you cannot have a comma in between the two parts of the sentence there. All right, and this third example is, of course, wrong because cause is not short for because. So we're not going to use the word cause as a shortening for that word. All right, numbers. Should you have to write numbers for an MLA style paper, you want to spell out the numbers in longhand, written in one or two words, if you can do that. So words such as 2 or 300, because those are only one or two words long, you're going to write those out completely. If you begin a sentence with a number, spell it out even if it is a date or other number that uses more than two words. If the number is really, really long, like a statistic that's going to make it arduous to write it out, then you can go ahead and just put in the numerical characters instead of writing it out. All right, allot each other toward and in contrast. Allot is two words, each other is two words. It should be toward, not towards, with an S on the end. And something stands in contrast to something else, not the phrase contrasted with. Okay, the ellipsis. Most of you guys have this down now, but you're going to write an ellipsis if you're taking something out of a quote that's non essential, as long as what you take out here doesn't change the meaning of the quote altogether. There should be no ellipsis at the beginning or the end of the quote. You only use that if you need to take out the middle section of the quote. Otherwise, you can just begin and end your quotations wherever that will fall. All right, author credentials. If the author is not famous and you need to specify their credentials, Marcy Brighton, author of Empire, Queen Elizabeth writes that the credentials here that she is the author of this work that tells your audience the information they need to know. Now for you guys, if you're writing a paper on Macbeth, you don't need to give someone like Shakespeare credentials in your paper because Shakespeare is so famous, everybody knows who he is. But if it's a critic or some other kind of author that you need to explain who they are, please do that. Okay, among versus between. When you have more than two people or things that are involved, you use the word among. When it's only two, that's when you use the word between. The money was divided among four players versus between the two, she had the more stable profession. So those words are not interchangeable. Okay, effect versus affect. In most cases, effect is a noun. And in most cases, affect is a verb. So the effect of the missed research paper was a failing grade for his English class. Effect is used as a noun there, so you use the E. Her negative attitude affects my mood as well, used as a verb there, so we use the A. Okay, farther versus further. Farther is a measure of distance. Further is a measure of depth, time, or quantity. You chase a ball farther than the other guy, distance. You further study a subject, depth. Okay, flammable. This doesn't come up very often, but the word is actually inflammable. This means that it is capable of catching on fire. People tend to use the word flammable because the in at the beginning confuses people, making them think that it's not flammable. But actually, the word is inflammable. That means able to catch on fire. So just FYI if it comes up. Okay, split infinitives. You want to avoid sentences with constructions where you place an adverb between to and the infinitive that it governs. So if you know the show Star Trek, this is the most famous split infinitive. To is the uh, okay, so to boldly go. To is the preposition here. Go is the verb. The adverb here shouldn't be between the preposition and the verb. Instead, you should write to go boldly. Okay, so always just remember if you set something up like this, you don't want to put the to in between the adverb and the infinitive that it governs. So it should say to go boldly. Okay, that is restrictive, which is non-restrictive. Again, this goes back to comma rules. The lawnmower that is broken is in the garage, no commas. The lawnmower, which is broken, is in the garage. So non-restrictive means it's not essential, so you can surround that with commas. Less versus fewer. Less refers to quantity. Fewer refers to number. His troubles are less than mine equals his troubles are not as great or as important as mine. His troubles are fewer than mine equals his troubles are not so numerous as mine. 10 items or less should actually be 10 items or fewer because you're referring to number there, not quantity. Okay, so please come back to this presentation just to check for some of these easily confused words and mistakes when you edit your paper and when you write your paper.